Hello and welcome to another reading of a news ELA article. Today's article is titled, "A Refreshing Sleep. It Helps Ward Off Diseases and Strengthens Memories." So right away in the title, here's a vocabulary word, ward, or together, ward off. So what does it mean for it, or a refreshing sleep, that is, to ward off disease? Or how does the refreshing sleep ward off disease? That's what this article is going to tell us. But let's think about what that means, ward off. What does it sound like? Well, if it helps to prevent disease, then ward off could mean prevent or to stop. This article was originally published by Scientific American and adapted by Newsela staff. One thing I'm going to mention before I begin, there are a few acronyms or abbreviations. And if you guys remember when we looked at acronyms before in class, they are basically groups of capital letters that are all together with no spaces or periods in between. And each letter in an acronym stands for a single word. In this article, you're going to see the acronym REM and NREM. Every time that I read the acronym today, I'm going to read it as a complete compound word, meaning I'm going to read each letter. Instead of reading the letter, I'm going to read it as if the words were written on the screen. And the reason I'm going to do this is because I think that that kind of technique could be helpful to you. If you do that technique when you read things quietly to yourself or when you read them aloud even, you'll be reading the entire thing over and over, saying those words in your brain. Even though they're not in front of your eyes at that moment, it's going to help you possibly to remember what they are, meaning take that memory with you even after you put the article away. And I think it's going to help you better understand how those words are actually relating to the topic of the article. So the acronym REM stands for Rapid Eye Movement or Quick Eye Movement. But rapid, meaning quick, is describing how the eyes or your eyes look when you're sleeping in that stage of sleep. So here we go. When humans sleep, we are completely open to attack. We have no idea what is happening around us. To an alien, sleep would probably seem strange and pointless. Sleeping is not useless, however. Sleep may refresh the body's cells, clear waste from the brain, and support learning and memory. Sleep can even control mood and appetite. Yet, what exactly happens in our head when it hits the pillow? Philosophers have tried to describe and explain sleep for thousands of years. Aristotle was an ancient Greek philosopher who lived over 2,000 years ago. He described sleep as the opposite of waking. He proposed that when we're awake, we take in information about the world. While asleep, we do not. Scientists believe he was basically right about what happens to the brain when we sleep. Scientists record and study the electrical activity of our brains, called brain waves, during sleep to try to solve the mystery of slumber. They have found two sleeping states, non-rapid eye movement and rapid eye movement. These two states repeat every 90 minutes or so, several times during the night. Non-rapid eye movement can also be called NREM. This stage of sleep can be broken down into four separate stages: S1, S2, S3, and S4, or stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stage 4. When you are sleepy but still awake, your brain waves become slower and increase in height. The first two stages of non rapid eye movement sleep are relatively light stages. Waking up is fairly easy, and the sleeper might not recognize they were asleep at all. Stages 3 and 4 of non rapid eye movement sleep are the deepest and hardest to wake up from. Leaving the real world. During non rapid eye movement sleep, our brains still pick up information through our senses. As sleep becomes deeper, we respond less to our environment. The mind turns inwards and is less tied to the outside world. Rapid eye movement sleep gets its name from the quick eye movements that happen during it. During rapid eye movement sleep, muscles stop working. The body is basically unable to move. Yet, in rapid eye movement sleep, our brain looks the same as when we are awake. We also dream during rapid eye movement sleep. During dreams, a part of our brain called the frontal cortex is disrupted. The frontal cortex helps us control our behavior, think, and make decisions. Without the frontal cortex, we are less aware of ourselves. The brain becomes open to the strange world of dreams. Outside information is cut off, creating a tight dream loop. And here we have an image of our brain activity with some different colors showing what's going on in the brain. And I think if I click in, I can make it bigger. So if you can go online to newsela.com, you can take a closer look at this. What they were talking about in the article is the frontal cortex, which actually is not shown here except for prefrontal cortex. So this is a very scientific and medical discussion or view of the brain. Image 2, the resting state networks involved in sleep. During dreams, a part of our brains called the frontal cortex is disrupted. Okay, so I already read that. Studies have shown what happens when we sleep. Why do we sleep at all, though? Scientists do not know for sure, but they have several ideas. For example, sleep seems to improve memory's ability to stick. Research suggests rapid eye movement sleep strengthens the brain's ability to process past memories. This helps prepare memories for future use. It also gets rid of any unnecessary memories. One published study thinks that sleep could help separate important memories from unimportant ones. Sleep cleans the slate. During the day, as we learn and experience the world, the connections in our brain strengthen. As we sleep, though, connections in the brain weaken, balancing everything out. By cutting away unneeded connections, sleep cleans the slate. Then we can learn again the next day. Another possibility is that sleep may clean out toxic proteins that are bad for the brain. During sleep, the space between brain cells increases. This allows harmful waste to be flushed out. In 2013, researchers published a study showing that the brain uses sleep to get rid of toxic proteins. This waste removal system could be one of the major reasons why we sleep. By removing these toxic proteins from the brain, sleep may help keep people from getting brain diseases. Scientists do not exactly know why we sleep. However, sleep clearly affects us physically and psychologically. Sleeping clears out harmful waste and helps us hang on to important memories. Each of these explanations can be used to explain why we sleep. We just haven't worked it all out yet. Okay, so this final paragraph is a good example of a conclusion. A conclusion ties together the different topics that were mentioned in previous paragraphs. Okay, so the paragraphs before this, they introduce different details. The conclusion helps summarize those into basically a couple statements that lets you know that the author is done. They're finished. He or she is finished talking about it, but it also wraps them up nicely, kind of like wrapping up a gift. So let's read it again. Scientists do not exactly know why we sleep. However, sleep clearly affects us physically and psychologically. Sleeping clears out harmful waste and helps us hang on to important memories. Each of these explanations can be used to explain why we sleep. So that's a very nice conclusion right there. Other things I want to point out are the vocabulary words that if you are able to go online and use newsela.com, you can click these and see their definition. So if something is disrupted, it gets interrupted or stopped, right? Like if you're working on something and you get a text message or a phone call, your work or your thoughts have been disrupted. Here in the article, it's saying during dreams, a part of our brains called the frontal cortex is disrupted. So that's the part that helps us control our behavior, to think and make decisions. That part is interrupted while we're dreaming. Okay. So if you need to, take a listen to this reading one more time as you read through with your printed copy or as you read through what you're seeing on the screen. This should help you to answer the questions on the quiz if you haven't already. And if you have tried them, go back now after listening to this, and I think you'll be able to get all of them correct. Good luck.